What's up, folks? Welcome back to the channel. Boozer here. Thanks for stopping by. Hopefully you guys are having a great day today. The fusion has just started for Sanguine Maria. Happy Halloween. We got the Halloween Bastion going on in the background here. So let's jump into the fusion plan and how we are going to obtain Maria as cheaply as possible here. So going into her fusion plan that's available right now, we can see that we can get a total of 450 of her fragments. It's going to be a hybrid fusion, guys, so that means we have to collect fragments to fuse her epics and then level up her epics up to 50 fully ascended, and then we fuse those epics into the champion. It's time limited, so we have to summon Maria before the end of her fusion. We can't save her or for any kind of future events or anything like that for additional value, so keep that in mind. With a total of 450 fragments, it means that we can skip 50 fragments in total. We need 400, so that's 100 fragments per epic, of course. Interesting start to the fusion here. Champion training along with a Gear Hunters event. No tournaments happening at the same time, so this usually means that it's a pretty slow start right here. You just basically just do campaign. Campaign means you're getting gear plus farming up food. You could also do some tavern work, do some brews, do some chickens, leveling up champions, but don't go too crazy with energy spend on day one. We want to save that energy for when the ice golem opens tomorrow. 6,800 points for the first 25 fragments in the champion training. It's a 4-day champion training, so that gives us a little bit of time to get the points. We do have the Gear Hunters event happening right now. 3,700 points for the first 25 fragments, which is pretty standard so far, so nothing too tricky from Plarium so far. We do have a Summon Rush opening tomorrow, and we'll probably hear some news about progressive or any kind of further events pretty soon. Gear enhancements. We have 3 gear enhancements. That's pretty standard stuff. Each one of these should cost you between 15 and 20 million silver, so you got to be prepared for that, guys. A 3,700 point Gear Hunter here means that you're probably going to be spending about 5,500 energy roughly. Could be a bit lower if you're super efficient running the, for example, stage 20, for example, or stage 3 of the event dungeon. You compare that up with the Ice Golem, it's going to probably be a standard, dungeon tournament here, 2,250 energy if you're running stage 20. Now, I looked up the previous hybrid fusion that we just had, which was Titus, and in the Summon Rush, the point total for the first 25 fragments was 3,000 points. So that's the equivalent of 6 Sacred Shards, so keep that in mind, guys. And this Summon Rush does not have any other events so far that we see attached to it, so there's no 2x primals or anything like that that we can see so far. And we know there's going to be 25 fragments here, so there's nothing additional that we need to worry about. Standard arena takedowns here. We got 2 of them, very low points, easy fragments there from those 2 events. The big thing here from this entire fusion event, basically what I thought, I made a video about this maybe about 12 hours ago, and I thought that they were going to put a hero's path together with extra fragments in the Sanguine Maria fusion. I was very certain that they were going to do this. And in this case, there is a hero's path, and they gave us what the hero path requirements would be. Open shards, get artifacts, and there's going to be a total of 75 fragments here, 50 of which is extra. So this hero's path gives you the ability to basically skip 3 events. Sorry, let me rephrase that. It is basically worth 3 events, but it gives you the ability to skip 2 events. Because it looks like everybody must participate in the hero's path. We must get 25 fragments minimum from the hero's path if you want to finish Maria. Now, if you look at the calendar here, that means we must finish or complete in 3 summon events. All right, we have to play in 3 summon events for Maria, unless you want to do the extra fragments in the hero's path here. There's definitely going to be something else in this hero's path, not just her fragments. Maybe this is where Leonardo will be. It totally makes sense to me, putting the biggest hyped up prize for the last 2 months in a fusion event that's basically not skippable. So if you're jumping into this hero's path and then it's actually Leonardo, now you have multiple competing priorities. You have Leonardo, you have a critical 25 fragments here that you must participate in, and then you probably have Leonardo's 5-star soul as well. If it's as advertised from the leaked notes, it totally makes sense. And of course, open shards, get artifacts is exactly what we were thinking for Leonardo. Now, this doesn't 100% mean that it's going to be Leonardo. So if you look here on the Heroes Path on the Player and Play calendar, we got the Heroes Path here. There's no additional details or anything like that. It's still a little bit too early to give that information out. But I would say that the likelihood of this being Leonardo's Path is quite high. However, the collab event for the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles does not end until November 13th. My guess is that they would probably still put Leonardo here, but they still have other things that they can still monetize for the next 2 weeks. For example, Raphael's 5-star soul. We got April's soul still unavailable so far. So there's still probably some ways to monetize the collab a little bit further instead of just pushing Leonardo further and further out. So with all that being said, it does add a layer of complexity and it does raise the stakes a little bit higher for this upcoming Heroes Path. Now, since this basically takes up the Dungeon Diver component here, we do have 2 Gear Hunters in addition. This Heroes Path we can consider as a 3rd Gear Hunter. So you can kind of just throw energy in here as well and try to pick up this 25 fragments just by using energy as if it was just a Gear Hunter. So we can do that while grinding Spider and then a little bit of the Fire Knight on the last day. And then we can mix in the Spider with the Champion Training as well, or you can mix in, I'm guessing, probably another Shredder's Wrath tournament somewhere here as well. And this would be a non-CBC week over here. Although we don't know, if we think of this as just another Gear Hunters, expect to spend, upwards of 5k energy here just to get the 25 and then still be in the running for the Maria Fusion. Now, heading into the second weekend of this, we have the Champion Chase here. Keep in mind that we do have the ability to fuse 3 Void Epics during this Champion Chase, maybe even more. You could technically fuse it all here. You could technically fuse all 4 Void Epics in this Champion Chase and even fuse Maria so you can get some additional value. But obviously, at a minimum, you should be looking at fusing 3 of the Void Epics for this Champion Chase. I think this is relatively a safe bet to participate in. For the Titus Champion Chase, similar kind of setup. The point total was actually very low. It's only about 1,150 points. So they had it kind of set up so that everyone kind of got like a freebie at the end. I would be prepared to do a bit of a higher point total for this Champion Chase just in case, but keep in mind that you can at least fuse 3 of the Void Epics here. And then to end everything off, we have a Dragon Tournament paired up with another Dungeon Diver. So another 3,700 point Dungeon Diver here, and then 2,250 point Dragon Tournament. So about 2,250 energy, and then this one will be about 5,500 energy. Not the most efficient. It just means that you're just going to be putting more of the energy into this dragon, or you could add a little bit of energy into the Fire Knight and then have it dip into the Gear Hunters as well. That is if you weren't dipping Fire Knight into the Heroes Path already. Anyways, the layout here looks pretty complex, but there's actually some pretty decent opportunities here for double and triple dips. The biggest complexity for this fusion is whether to participate in this Heroes Path, how important this Heroes Path would be, and all that. Given that there's 75 points in this Heroes Path, it really is worth probably thinking about because it allows us to skip, potentially 2 additional events. Now, depending on your account situation, obviously we don't know. We all have different levels of resources and all that. You don't want to open additional shards during this Heroes Path to basically alleviate events that take up resources that you have plenty of. For example, if you have plenty of energy, you don't want to open shards so that you can skip events that cost you energy, if that makes sense. Especially if you're interested in getting Leonardo, and if this is not the Leonardo's path that we are all thinking about. So make sure you guys manage your resources properly. I'm really thinking that this is probably going to be Leonardo's path. It's just the perfect spot to put it in. Why wait 2 weeks from now or a week from now to put Leonardo's path somewhere? This has to be it. Shards with energy, and put it in a high stakes Heroes Path in a fusion that so far has shown to have some pretty good value, and in an event that you must participate in to at least get 25. So for example, if this is Leonardo's path, think about going for Leonardo and then having to go for an additional 25 fragments worth of effort in this Heroes Path as well. That's already a lot to ask for a lot of people. I think trying to get the player base to dig even deeper and give more is just being so greedy. Now, is it possible that Leonardo's path is not this. It's absolutely possible. But does it make sense for Plarium to move this Hero's Path to, let's say, the first week of November? I think that's a little bit too soon. A 1 week gap between Hero's Path. I think that doesn't feel right. Does it make sense for them to move it 2 weeks in advance into the last week of the collab? That makes slightly more sense in terms of timing and spacing, but leaving it to the last minute, I don't know if that is the best idea for them. You guys let me know in the comments below what you guys think about that. So what is my plan with this fusion plan? After looking at it, like I said, it doesn't look too difficult in terms of event spacing and, obviously double dipping and all that. We can definitely get some decent value by doing events in the proper times. What I'm thinking is a full skip on the first summon rush here, leaving us short 25 fragments. And then trying to pick up those 25 fragments in this Hero's Path, which means a total of 50 fragment participation from this Hero's Path. And then whatever extra is going to be in this Hero's Path, we have to evaluate afterwards. But this gives us basically one additional weekend of like saving shards, and then we can focus those shards into this Hero's Path. The best thing about this Hero's Path is that it also has some flexibility with energy. So it's not just shards, it's actually shards and energy. So don't think about this first summon rush. Don't think about this first summon rush here. Save those shards and then use those shards towards this Hero's Path as if this was the summon rush that you just missed. All right, so think about it that way. And then think about the 25 additional fragments that you need to pick up from this Hero's Path as basically just another dungeon diver that you would have done anyways during this lull. So even if this is not Leonardo, at the very minimum, you shouldn't be committing any more further resources. You'll just be committing the same shards that you would have committed anyways, and then you would have committed the same energy that you would have committed anyways as if this was a dungeon diver. So that would be my suggestion. And if this is Leonardo's Hero's Path, then, happy days. We get, to spend everything here for this Hero's Path. And then obviously you want to pick up 25 plus 25 fragments in this Hero's Path if you're going for Maria. If not, then happy days. We got Leonardo and then we call it a day. Now, depending on the pricing of the fragments here, it might be worthwhile to pick it up with additional energy so that maybe we could skip the champion chase. We don't know what the point total is for the champion chase. Like I said, for Titus, it was very, friendly, I guess, 1150. But you never know. It could be like a 3000 or 2500 champion chase, and then you just might as well want to save some shards or save some summons. So getting the additional 25 here to skip that maybe is worth it, but we'll have to see what the point breakdown will be for this in terms of what we're getting for our pulls and our energy. But yeah, the time is now. I think it's getting pretty close, guys. So really, really exciting times. Gonna be an interesting weekend. I don't know. Maybe they'll do something crazy for the weekend for this summon rush, and then it's too enticing to kind of pass on. But my initial plan will be to participate in the Hero's Path, skip the first summon rush, and then basically just complete the fusion events afterwards, participating in the champion chase, of course. All right, guys, so that's going to be it for the video. Hopefully that made all sense to you guys. Let me know in the comments below what you guys are planning to do. What do you guys think this mysterious Hero's Path will be? Do you think the timing lines up with everything here? I think it really does. I think it's the perfect spot for them to put Leonardo's Path, giving us a couple weeks left for them to monetize the last little bit of the collab. Hey, we'll see in a couple days probably. So we'll probably get the preview of it probably sometime on the weekend, to be honest. But yeah, let me know in the comments below what you guys think. Have a great day. Thanks for watching until the end. Appreciate you guys, and I'll see you guys in the next video.